Hi there, Zamir for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of Monkey Man, a movie starring Dev Patel and Charlton Copley. Now, one of the film types of genres of movies I'm not the biggest fan of is Bollywood, but I do like Indian films when they are not Bollywood. Films like Slumdog Millionaire, films like Bandit Queen, they are great movies when they're not done in that Bollywood style. And this film, to a degree, is pretty good and it's not Bollywood whatsoever. And talking of Slumdog Millionaire, if you take that film and you mix it with John Wick, you do get Monkey Man. And this film is far more artsy than I ever could have anticipated. It's a good film. I wouldn't necessarily call it a great movie, but I did have an okay time with it. Some of the choreography was pretty good. It is not genuinely trying to be John Wick. As if you watch a John Wick film, there's a lot more gung fu than there is necessarily hand to hand combat. But this film is far more about the fighting, the punches, and some of those scenes can be a lot more personal when you see it played out. It's not necessarily played out for the sake of razzmatazz, even though you got some cool moments, which that does give you the wow factor. But there are some moments in this film where you think to yourself, "Wow, this is very personal," and you feel it, you see it. It's not trying to be glamorous in that particular aspect. I will say it's artsy regarding some of the scenarios and situations and aspects of this movie, which you have to really see to understand. If you've seen artsy films in the past, you kind of get it with this particular movie. It's probably the first artsy action movie or combat film I've ever seen, and I guess some genres can work together pretty well. And in this particular case, in the sort of route we go down, even though it's a very simplistic film regarding it being a revenge movie, um, it all comes together pretty well. Not perfectly, I may add, but pretty well. Dev Patel plays a character called the Kid, also known as Bobby. I think Bobby's not his real name, it's an alias, something he just made up on the fly that we kind of go with. His mum gets killed when he's very young. We see scars on his hand, which apparently is from bleach because he works in lots of kitchens and stuff like that. But we realize later on in the movie that the scars on his hands, when I say his hands, I mean his palms, are that of trying to put his mum out because his mum was set alight on fire. She was close to being strangled to death, pretty much left to die. And then to make things worse, this policeman who did this to her covered her in petrol or fuel or some flammable liquid and set her ablaze. And then her son tried to put the fire out with just his bare hands. That son being obviously Bobby Dev Patel. He wants revenge on that guy. He wants revenge on the whole industry, and he gets it. He infiltrates this building where a lot of these gangsters, a lot of this industry actually operates in, and through there he tries to work his not necessarily work his way up because he never wants to be a gangster himself, but through like the sort of like frontline workers like the cleaners and the servants and stuff like that. He works his way up through that division to basically get a chance to kill the guy who killed his mum, as well as take care of the whole organization themselves. He fails on his first attempt, comes back on his second. We see him also as a fighter who basically drops fights, loses fights on purpose to pay off the owner, the promoter who's organizing these fights. That's played by Shalto Copley. He's a bit of a weasel in this as well, but he doesn't really have a real significant role to play in this movie overall. There's a trans community that takes care of Monkey Man at one particular point. They've been ostracized from society, and then during Monkey Man's first attempt to get at these bad guys, when he fails and he escapes, he gets wounded and he gets uh, lost in a river, and then he gets washed up, and then this trans community finds him and takes care of him and gets him back on his feet, and he kind of learns that is that he has to fight more than just for himself, but also for other people as well. It's nicely done in a way, there's religious tones to it as well, and you see political corruption at times with certain bigger players, the man behind the man, so to speak, of the people he's going after. They all come into play, and then at one particular point when he needs backup, when he goes for his second round at the bad guys, this trans community, they join him as like a mini army of like trans ninjas with scythes and stuff like that, cutting people up. It's quite amusing and pretty cool at the same time. This is a very interesting film in a way. I've never really seen anything like it. With like I said, with the artsy style, this being a film set in India with Indian characters, in a much more, macabre setting, much more seedy, sleazy setting. There's sex, there's drugs, there's all, there's like the people are quite terrible in this film. A lot of the people you come across. Obviously, there's some good people as well, but it's just nothing you would see from a movie starring Indian characters. Usually, Bollywood films tend to be a lot more flamboyant. And the last time I've seen a film resembling this is probably Bandit Queen, I guess, which was also an artsy film, but a lot more grounded. Not didn't have the flamboyant action scenes that this movie has at times. Overall, it's a good film. I wanted it to be a great film. I wanted to really come out of this movie loving it. Unfortunately, I liked it. Not saying I hated it. I liked it. It was okay. Not as good as I was hoping it would be. The trailer makes this film look amazing. It really does, and that's what trailers do. But unfortunately, the film has some good set pieces here and there, and some interesting moments and moments of self reflection for our main protagonist and all of that. And it works pretty well. It comes okay together and stuff like that. But you know, the pacing could be a little bit better. Like I understand the film can be a slow burn a little bit before that, maybe that first significant action scene, a bit like Aliens. Once that first action scene starts, it's just a roller coaster right till the end. Their film isn't like that necessarily. Once that first action scene starts, it's done very well, and then we have a middle section that is that self reflection section before we have that final action scene at the end. And some of the camera work as well it was a bit jittery for my liking. It's trying to show a franticness, panic and rushing and escape and nervousness, and all of these things are trying to be shown in the camera work. And it doesn't work necessarily really well. It didn't work for me. It was a bit overly jittery at times, and I never appreciated what they were trying to portray. So this is why it doesn't get the greatest of marks. So what I'm going to give this movie is a 7 out of 10. I liked it. I didn't love it. And I'm hoping that if Dev Patel does get behind the camera again and does more directing and stuff like that, he will probably learn from some of the criticisms he got from this movie, because this film can have a continuation. Monkey Man doesn't have to end after this movie. We can get a Monkey Man 2. He can be a legend in his own right regarding what the legacy he left after this particular movie. So we'll see where that takes us if we do get a sequel, and I'm hoping to see more from Dev Patel and this artsy style of action movie. Anyway, let me know what you think of this film. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment below to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care now. Bye bye.